If this works, this will be super useful. This tool right here is a Rivnut gun. Basically, it's a rivet gun that puts a sort of a threaded collar into metal, into sheet metal. And what you can do, you can use them on your bike frames to add mounting points for water bottles, I guess pannier racks, everything like that. It will give a bit more strength than just drilling a hole into the tube and tapping it out. Whereas this gives you a whole lot more to thread into. They're not that expensive. This one was like the cheapest of the cheap that I could find on eBay. So I'm going to test it out today. I'm going to try and add some water bottle cages onto a frame that I've got knocking around. Maybe I'll try it on some forks as well. I don't know how deep they're going to go though, so that's a thing. We'll experiment. But the main thing is to add the water bottle cages, because obviously not all frames, not all vintage frames came with the water bottle cages. And some of them you just want to add a second, so we're going to give it a go. Now the tool itself is essentially just a rivet gun, but what it actually inserts are these things. I've got various threads. Unfortunately this kit isn't actually labelled or has any instructions, so this is one of them. It's basically just a little collar here. So it's got the grooved rings there which are going to grip onto the metalwork inside. They're going to come in different sizes. Different sized threads that you want to install are going to have different sized collars. This one in particular is going to need a 6.5mm drill bit to install. I would imagine, as I say, there's no instructions with this, so I'm going to use 6.5mm. And it also comes with these attachments. There, I'm in shot. These attachments. These are the things that actually do all the pulling. So this part threads into the gun itself, into the body. This part threads into the plunger at the back, and this part threads onto the collar. So you'll thread this into the gun, thread the collar on, stick it in the frame, and hopefully it will act like a rivet gun. And when you compress it, in theory, because this is still theory at the moment, I haven't used it, this part will compress, this part will pull up into there, that part will be clamped across the top of the frame, and this part will grip the frame. So it should crush on the inside and hold it in place. So we're going to see how well it works. I don't know how well it's going to work, I don't know how accurate I'm going to do this, but we're going to give it a go. Now for this fine example of mess in the background, I'm going to use this old lady's frame, because if it works I'll build it up, and yeah, we'll see. It's going to be kind of awkward because I'm not going to mount the bottle. I mean, I could put it there, I could put it on the down tube here, I guess. I'm not really going to put it on the one underneath. I can fit it in there, but it's got the pump pegs on, so if you want to put a pump on, you're going to lose the ability, and plus I'm never going to get a drill bit in there. So you got to think about where you can put the drill bit. So I could put it on the down tube here, just put it up to there. I don't know how do you think that would look? I've actually got a bottle right here, so that will sit there on the down tube. Yeah, that might look alright. Or on the seat tube. I don't know which is going to be better. So this is going to be easier here, because I'm going to be able to get the drill in there. Maybe not so much. Now the trick is going to be marking everything up. And naturally I have put this on the frame now without anything to scribe within reach. Okay, so I've got a little knife. The tricky thing now is going to be positioning it. So I think we're going to want it about there, maybe about that height. 12 is here. So we're going to want it, I'd say the top one roughly around there, around that part. We'll try that one first. Finding the centre of the tube is going to be the next tricky thing. Use this ruler. Have a flat object there, have a flat object that side. Find the centre between them. That should work. This seems to me like a sensible way of doing this, because finding the centre of the tube is the tricky part. So I've got two flat parts of the rulers basically from a square, and I've got my line here where I want to put the top hole. I'm just going to measure the distance between them, which is 28mm, surprisingly. So if I put a mark at 14, that should be where I need to drill my hole. And I've got my hand right in front of the camera. Let's reposition. So you can see a bit better there. We've got the metals clamped on. I want to be roughly, let's say, there. Yeah, I found a pencil. I think that's roughly in the centre, 14mm, half of 28. So if I drill my hole on that point, my 6.5mm hole, drill it straight into the tube, I can get my first reference point in, hopefully, and we'll see how well this works. Okay, 6.5 through with a lot of noise. So in theory, oh, this is all theory. In theory now, with this 6.5mm hole drilled, this attachment I've already put on here will fit in. It doesn't, so maybe I need a 7mm hole. I wish this would come with instructions. Do I have to hammer this in? I don't know how to do it. Someone's going to tell me I'm doing this wrong. Did that really do anything? Hey honey. There we go. And in theory, now, not that you're looking at anything, this, I should squeeze this together now. If it's like a rivet gun, and this should maybe lock it into the frame. That's as much as I can squeeze it. So do you just unwind it then? Oh frickin' hell, if you squeeze it it's a lot easier. Okay, so that's one hole in, one fresh hole. Will it take the screw still? Yes it will. Can I put my bottle cage on there with one temporarily? That'll work guys, that'll work. It's a bit of a shite bottle cage to hold that water bottle, but it'll work. Oh, you are zoomed right in. There we go. So if I put this other doohickey on now, drill this other hole, I'll do it again, the same thing. 4mm through it first because my drill bits are awful, and then through it with a 7mm. Put another one of these collars onto that device, fix it on, and then put the other screw in, and do you know what? I think I've just installed my first bottle cage mounts onto the frame. And there we go. It's not the best of frames to have done this on. A lady's bike, but it was a spare frame. Yeah, I've put a bottle cage on. First time. So the bottle does fit. It holds it nice and snug. I should have put this particular one a bit higher, because it's actually resting on the tube there. But it's kind of a bad cage anyway. So yeah, double check your measurements. But that definitely did work. Close up. focus on the sleeping kitty in the background first before slowly panning around to the cage itself and not focusing. There we go. So yeah, it did work. Mounts went in okay. It's gone on. It's holding it secure. It's only a wireframe, so I'm not going to put it around too much because that's going to break. But it holds it secure. Threads went in pretty well. These ones in particular, the ones I measured at 6.5, I had to drill a 7mm hole to get them in. And the thing you're going to struggle with most is getting your actual drill in there, because obviously a bike frame is not really the best place to be trying to get drills in straight places because of all the triangles. It might be easier on a men's frame because they've obviously got the big open triangle, but depending on where you put it, how close proximity to other tubes is, you might have to just come in at an angle and give it a bit of wiggle room. But it's gone on, it worked well. I mean, this kit, I think this kit cost me £12 maybe. It's got a good range of little collets and adapters, so yeah, top tips for that. Buy a cheap one to practice with, practice on a spare frame just in case it goes wrong. Measure the little collar first. These ones, like I say, were 6.5. 7mm hole was perfect in there because the 6.5 was just a little bit too tight. Try and find the centre of the frame as best you can. That really worked well with me there, clamping 2 bits of flat plate up against the sides and then just using that to find your reference for the centre. That worked brilliantly. That looks to be bang in the centre. Yeah, so that seemed to work. And it's just exactly like a rivet gun. You can change out your different attachments, just thread it on, poke it in the hole, squeeze it. It does its job, and it seems to work well, so I'm happy with that. It's a good little buy. I'll be able to add some bottle cages onto some vintage frames and make them a bit more usable. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go and eat now. So hope you found this video useful, entertaining and all that sort of jazz. Like, subscribe, comment, all that, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll leave you with Torvi. She's sleeping just there in the background. Torvi! Torvi! Always watching me. Do you want to go in now?